Welcome everyone to another session of the Product Management View webinar series. Every Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, product management professionals can pick up the latest in thought leadership, tips, and tricks. Jonathan is the author of Writing Copy for Dummies and principal of Krantz Communications, a copywriting firm serving firms in the high-tech, healthcare, banking, insurance, education, and financial services. His clients include Cisco, Dell, Harvard, IBM, Intuit, Pitney Bowes. He is a regular contributor to MarketingProfs.com and the Harvard Management Communication Letter. Take it away, Jonathan.
Reason to thank you, James. That was great. Appreciate it. And welcome, everybody. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to first get a little overview about what content is and why it matters. We're going to review some content options briefly. Then we're going to dig deep into some practical tactics for collecting and generating content for your website, followed by an in-depth discussion of one particular content tactic that's very popular, case studies. And then finally, we're going to conclude with a discussion about where on the site we put the content we create. Of course, at the end, there's 15 minutes of Q&A live here now. But if you have questions that are germane to your specific business and don't want to make public, or there are other issues related to web copy that may not be exactly appropriate for this, but you want to ask me anyway, please feel free to either call or email me. That contact information will be available on the last slide. I want to create a context for this discussion. As a communications vehicle, the web is different. Most of the marketing and public relations communications we make interrupt people. They're reading something and then there's a print ad. They're watching TV or listening to the radio and there's a commercial that interrupts them. They don't want to hear the message and you have to scream at the top of your voice to get their attention. The web is 180 degrees different. They're coming out to you. They're looking for something and they've arrived because they suspect that you have something of value to them. So your job then is to deliver the value. The more you can satisfy their need for information, the better a relationship you'll start with them. In fact, I think that the right way to think of a business website is not so much as a site that talks about you, but as a site as a metaphor for your business, as a place where the relationship begins. So that before a contract is written or they make the first purchase, they're already meaningfully engaged with you. Here's a site that I think illustrates this well. eBuild, it's for professional contractors, and as you would expect, it has all kinds of listings for products, etc. But if you look over here on the left-hand side where I'm circling, you see this market research store. If you were to click on this, if this were a live website, you would see reports on local housing markets, sales and pricing, national housing activity. This is exactly what I mean as an example of a content stream, a constant delivery of information and expertise of value that makes your website a watering hole where people gather to get the latest in their industry and, of course, puts you at the center of their attention. A lot of different content may be appropriate for your site depending on who you are and what you do. Let me just briefly go through some of the major content areas that can be valuable. Again, I recommend moving away from narcissistic content that we typically see kind of lifted from brochures that put on the site, such as about us, mission, philosophy. That reflects you. What you really want to do is reflect their needs and concerns, the people who could become your customers. And this kind of content begins to address those concerns. Case studies we're going to discuss in depth later in this presentation. How-to articles is a way you package your expertise and make it accessible to your audience. I often recommend a numerical approach. 10 ways to, 8 things you must know about, 5 things you should always avoid. This kind of setup is good for both you and the reader. For the reader, there's a built-in promise of value. They're going to get 5, 8, or 10 things and feel pretty confident at least 2 or 3 will be interesting to them. For you, it's easy because once you've arranged the introduction, you know what to do next. You just march down the list